poll to ascertain the presence of a quorum.
Councillor Baker. Here. Councillor Campbell.
Here.
Councillor Siomo. Councillor Edwards. Councillor Asabi George. Councillor Flaherty. Councillor Flynn. Councillor Garrison. Councillor Janey. Councillor McCarthy.
Agreed.
Councillor O'Malley. Councillor Wu. And Councillor Zakam. Madam President, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I've been informed by the clerk that a quorum is present. At this time, I would like all guests, staff, and colleagues to please rise as our lovely clerk brings us through the invocation. I ask everyone to remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance after the invocation. Thank you.
Good afternoon. O thou who hast made us one nation out of many people, amidst our diversities of race and tradition and faith, unite us in a common love of freedom. Revive us in a spirit of devotion to the common good, so that we may open doors to the neglected and oppressed. Cleanse the heart of our nation from that greed which preys upon others. Endow our leaders with wisdom, that they may stand among nations as an example of benevolence and exalted justice. Help us to make this land a common workshop of its people, where all may find their place and work, keen to do their best. Hear these words of the Athenian Pericles. I would have you day by day fix your eyes upon the greatness of your country until you become filled with love for her. And when you are impressed by the spectacle of her glory, reflect that it has been acquired by men and women who knew their duty and had the courage to do it. And these words of the Hebrew psalmist, let the people give praise, O God, of all the nations. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving on to approval of the minutes. If there are no corrections to be made, the minutes of the last council meeting will stand approved. Seeing and hearing no objection, the minutes are so approved. Moving on to communication from His Honor the Mayor.
Docket number 1553, message and order approving an appropriation of $692,208 from the Edward Ingersoll Brown Fund for projects described in the attached order. The Edward Ingersoll Brown Fund Commissioners met on October 23, 2019, and voted to approve these projects. It is my belief and that of the Commission that these projects will ornament the city's streets, ways, squares, and parks, as Mr. Brown directed in his will in the year 1892.
Docket 1553 will be assigned to the Committee on City, Neighborhood Services, and Veterans and Military Affairs.
Docket number 1554, message and order authorizing the City of Boston to accept and expend the amount of $60,000 in the form of a grant for the Sustainable Materials Recovery Program Recycling Dividends, awarded by the Mass Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs, to be administered by the Environment Department. The grant will fund policies and programs to maximize reuse, recycling, and waste reduction.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilor O'Malley, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise and ask for suspension of the rules and adoption of docket 1554. As the clerk had mentioned, this is a relatively small grant, about $60,000, that will fund the Sustainable Materials Recovery Program recycling dividends. It was awarded by the state, Mass Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs, and it will allow for an increased educational marketing campaign around recycling citywide. Our recycling rate in the city of Boston is abysmally low, so this will hopefully help begin the work of ticking that number up. And so I ask for suspension and adoption of docket 1554. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor O'Malley. At this time, Councilor O'Malley, who's Chair of the Committee on Environment, Sustainability, and Parks, seeks acceptance of the committee report and suspension of the rules and passage of docket 1554. All those in favor of passage say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Docket 1554 has been passed. Madam Clerk, moving on to reports of public officers and others, if we could read dockets 1555 through 1566 together.
Thank you, Madam President. Docket number 1555, notice is received from the Mayor of the reappointment of Alexandra Lopez Cardra as a member of the Animal Control Commission for a term expiring January 3rd, 2022. Docket number 1556, notice is received from the Mayor of the reappointment of Carrie Marie Marsh as a member of the Animal Control Commission for a term expiring January 2nd, 2022. Docket number 1557, notice is received from the Mayor of the reappointment of Gino Provenzano as a member of the Animal Control Commission for a term expiring January 3rd, 2022. Docket number 1558, notice is received from the Mayor of Shayla White as a member of the Animal Control Commission for a term expiring January 3rd, 2022. Excuse me. Docket number 1559, notice is received from the Mayor of the appointment of Julia Gunn as a member of the Animal Control Commission for a term expiring January 3rd, 2022. Docket number 1560, notice was received from the Mayor of the reappointment of Nancy Baker as a member of the Animal Control Commission for a term expiring January 3rd, 2022. Docket number 1561, notice was received from the Mayor of the appointment of Anna Rafferty Forey as a member of the Animal Control Commission for a term expiring January 3rd, 2022. Docket number 1562, notice was received from the Mayor of the appointment of Caitlin Tomlinson as a member of the Animal Control Commission for a term expiring January 3rd, 2022. Docket number 1563, notice was received from the Mayor of the appointment of Stephanie Harris as a member of the Animal Control Commission for a term expiring January 3rd, 2022. Docket number 1564, notice was received from the Mayor of the appointment of Lindsay Legier as a member of the Animal Control Commission for a term expiring January 3rd, 2022. Docket number 1565, notice was received from the Mayor of the appointment of Dr. Kiko Bracker as a member of the Animal Control Commission for a term expiring January 3rd, 2022. And docket number 1566, notice was received from the Mayor of the reappointment of Natalia Tracy as a member of the Living Wage Commission for term expiring May 1st, 2022.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Dockets 1555 through 1566 will be placed on file. Moving on to reports of committees.
Docket number 1455, the Committee on Environment, Sustainability, and Parks, to which was referred on October 23rd, 2019. Docket number 1455, message and order for approval of the appropriation of an amount of $175,000 for the Cemetery Division of the Parks and Recreation Department to be funded from the Cemetery Trust Fund established under Chapter 13 of the Acts of 1961. Submits a report recommending the order ought to pass in a new draft.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilor O'Malley, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. After 9 years on this body and 7 years as the chairman of the Committee on Parks, I was finally able to schedule a hearing on cemeteries on Halloween. And it was a tough crowd today, I guess. Everyone's still a little crowded. Attention Kmart shoppers. We had a terrific hearing last Thursday, October 31st, on docket 1455. Second Assistant Collector Treasurer Richard DePino, Trust Manager Margaret Dyson, and Superintendent of Cemeteries Tom Sullivan testified in support of the docket on behalf of Mayor Walsh. Docket 1455 asks for authorization of an appropriation from the Cemetery Trust Fund to fund improvements to Mount Hope Cemetery, specifically to expand burial capacity in the sections of the cemetery for veterans and indigent residents, and to replace the HVAC system in the cemetery's administration building. The Cemetery Trust Fund was established by state law under Chapter 13 of the Acts of 1961. It generates revenue through the collection of burial fees at the city's 3 active cemeteries, and the funds are meant to be used by the Cemetery Division and the Parks and Recreation Department to expand and improve the city's cemeteries. The new draft of Docket 1455 reflects an updated appropriation in the amount of $232,000 based on contracting bids that have been received thus far. $140,000 of that will go for the expansion and infrastructure improvements to the veterans and city poor sections, or the indigent sections, of Mount Hope Cemetery, and $92,000 will be for the replacement of Mount Hope's HVAC system. The appropriation will help ease the end-of-life financial burden on the loved ones of veterans and allows the city to continue to provide burial services for residents regardless of means. As chair of the Committee on Environment, Sustainability, and Parks, I recommend that this matter ought to pass in a new draft. I'd just like to say, before we vote, it's really remarkable the work comes under Parks, but certainly Tom Sullivan and his team at Cemeteries that provide such incredible care and service for families in their toughest, darkest days. And the fact that we as a city can offer the dignity of a nice, solemn, and respectful burial service, particularly those who don't have the means to do so. It can be extraordinarily expensive, and certainly to take advantage of our veterans and spouses of veterans is a remarkable thing. You're not going to read about it in the newspaper, you're not going to see it on television, but it's just a great service that this city provides, and I'm proud that this body can help increase that pool of money to continue the good work. So ask that we pass this in a new draft. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor O'Malley. Anyone else want to speak on this docket? At this time, Councilor O'Malley, who's chair of the Committee on Environment, Sustainability, and Parks, seeks acceptance of the committee report and passage of docket 1455 in a new draft. All those in favor of passage say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Docket 1455 has been passed in a new draft. I am informed by the clerk that there were 2 late file matters. And for clarification purposes, they're both personnel orders. That's why you don't have a copy of them. I think they're both personnel. Right, personnel? 2 of them? Are they the same? So they are 2 personnel orders, so in the absence of objection, they will be added to today's agenda. Seeing and hearing no objection, they are so added. Madam Clerk, if you could read the first into the record.
Thank you, Madam President. In the City Council, November 5th, 2019, Councilor Campbell for Councilor McCarthy.
Councilor McCarthy seeks suspension of the rules and passage of the first late file matter. All those in favor of passage say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The first late file matter has been passed.
In the City Council on November 5th, 2019, Councilor Campbell for Councilor McCarthy.
Councilor McCarthy seeks suspension of the rules and passage of the second late file matter. All those in favor of passage say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The second late file matter has been passed. Anyone wishing to remove a matter from the green sheets? Councilor Janey, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Madam President. I would like to draw your attention to page 1 of 25 in the green sheets to pull dockets 1276, 1277, and 1278. Each of these matters...
Can you just read those one more time?
Sure. Docket 1276, 1 of 25. It's like the first page right at the beginning. Second, yeah.
Under the Arts, Culture, and Special Events Committee.
Yes. So these are 3 dockets referred to the Committee on Arts, Culture, and Special Events by the mayor. All 3 of them are appointments to the Boston Art Commission. Camilo Alvarez, Robert Freeman, and Aqua Holmes.
So dockets 1276, 1277, and 1278.
Yes.
Madam Clerk, if you could poll that committee just so that these three dockets are properly before the council.
I don't know why they can't tell us. Counselor Janey.
Yes.
Counselor Janey, yes. Counselor Wu. Counselor Wu, yes. Counselor McCarthy. Yes. Counselor McCarthy, yes. Counselor O'Malley. Yes. Counselor O'Malley, yes. And Counselor Zachem. Yes. Counselor Zachem, yes. There is unanimous support for these dockets. Would like
Thank
me
you,
to
Madam
read-
Clerk. So dockets 1276, 1277, and 1278 are properly before the council. Madam Clerk, if you could read all three dockets into the record.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In the Committee on Arts, Culture, and Special Events, docket number 1276, sponsored by the Mayor. Message and order for the confirmation of the appointment of Camilo Alvarez as a member of the Boston Arts Commission for a term expiring on June 1st, 2024. Referred to committee on September 11th, 2019. In the Committee on Arts and Culture and Special Events, docket number 1277, sponsored by the Mayor. Message in order for the confirmation of the appointment of Robert Freeman as a member of the Boston Arts Commission for a term expiring January 1st, 2024. Referred to committee on September 11th, 2019. And in the Committee on Arts, Culture, and Special Events, docket number 1278, sponsored by the Mayor. Message in order for the confirmation of the reappointment of Yukika Holmes as a member of the Boston Arts Commission for a term expiring April 1st, 2023, filed in the referred to committee on September 11th, 2019.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilor Janey, you have the floor.
Yes, so I would love a vote on these three dockets. Should we take them individually or suspend and pass?
Do you want to offer some more words on
Oh,
who
just
these
that,
people
again, that
are?
these are, it's very straightforward. These are three individuals who have been nominated to the Boston Art Commission. They would like to, the Art Commission would like to meet soon, so they certainly would love to have their new members. Aqua Holmes, I know personally, she's an amazing artist. She lives in District 7. I see no reason why not to move forward with their appointments to the Art Commission. I think they would be great additions.
Thank you, Councilor Janey. At this time, Councilor Janey, who's chair of the Committee on Arts, Culture, and Special Events, is seeking suspension of the rules and passage of each of these dockets. We will take them separately. So for docket 1276, all those in favor of passage say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Docket 1276 has been passed. For docket 1277, all those in favor of passage say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Docket 1277 has been passed. And for docket 1278, all those in favor of passage say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Docket 1278 has been passed. Thank you, and thank you, Councilor Janey. Anyone else wishing to remove any matter from the green sheets? Okay. And now moving on to the consent agenda, there are 0 late file matters for the consent agenda. The chair moves for adoption of the consent agenda at this time. All those in favor of adoption say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The consent agenda has been adopted. Does anyone have any announcements? Councilor Flower, you have the floor.
Thank you. Just through the chair, working with the lead sponsor, there was obviously a much anticipated opportunity potentially to vote on a matter today that's been moved most likely to the 20th of this month. So there's some 11th hour negotiations underway. And as you know, part of my role as chair is to make sure that we're ensuring the transparent, predictable legislative process to which all of us, as well as members of the public and stakeholders, are involved with and prepare for. Also, another role as chair is to make sure that we're recommending legislation for passage that is able to withstand legal challenge. It's also in compliance with the city charter. And as we all know, the cannabis industry is a new and emerging industry across the Commonwealth. So I share my colleagues' sense of urgency to get that legislation passed. And through the chair, recognize the efforts of the lead sponsor in her efforts on our behalf as a body in those negotiations. So it's my hope that we'll have something, committee reports 99.9% done. So I hope is that we'll have something ready to go for the next time that we meet. Will be on the 20th. But again, we'll leave the door open if there's any 11th
Can you just
hour
remind us what the
negotiation.
docket number is for that?
Yes, the docket number for
Just
that,
so the public
Madam
knows.
President, is
0315? So docket 0315 is what you're referencing. Awesome.
0315.
Thank you.
So we should have something in the very near future. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor Flaherty, and thank you, Councilor Janey, for working together on this. Councilor Janey, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Madam President. And I just want to echo the sense of urgency. Since our last meeting, we've had a number of productive meetings. I'm very hopeful and encouraged by those meetings. I would even add 99.999999% there. We will use the next several days to work out those details. So I'm really encouraged and excited that this process is moving forward and that we will have something before this body very soon that I think we can all be very proud of.
Thank you, Councilor
And I have
Janey.
another
Okay.
announcement, if you
Oh, yeah,
will
no
allow
problem.
me. I just wanted to offer congratulations to everyone in this room who sought re-election and is coming back to this body. And for the new members who will be joining us, very excited to have them join us. So just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Councilor Janey. Councilor Edwards, you have the floor.
I just wanted to say that next week on the 12th, we're having our first gala, the Maverick Street Mothers Scholarship Fund. As many of you had known, we had sent out that announcement a while ago. This is in part honoring the incredible women who organized in East Boston many years ago to make sure we have an incredible neighborhood today. Again, we lost a giant with Mary Ellen Welch this year, and to see her go was a huge loss for many of us in East Boston. This scholarship is in her memory, but also in a lot of the women whose names we don't know so well, who put themselves physically with their babies in their baby carriages on the streets to stop trucks from coming into East Boston and ruining our neighborhood, and also really have created, I think, a legacy to this day that of the neighborhoods, we probably get the most mitigation and the most I think we have the most incredible relationship with Massport in terms of being able to negotiate, get what we need, what we want, but also deliver an uppercut if we have to, and still walk around winning. And that's because of these incredible women. So I wanted to acknowledge that. The gala is next week. We have 4 mothers who are going to school. We have managed to fund them in different capacities: beauty school, the English school, going to community college. It's one of the few, if only, parent scholarships that we have, nominated by many of their kids, nominated by folks in the neighborhood. We're so excited to be able to give them this financial award next week. So I invite you all to Spinelli's from 6 to 9 on the 12th.
Thank you, Councilor Edwards. Anyone else have any other announcements? Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I just wanted to inform the body that Veterans Day will soon be here, and I know all of the councilors do attend many events in their district. I'll be attending several events with the mayor as well, but it's an opportunity for us as a body to continue our work speaking for and advocating for our veterans and military families. I'm also proud of the outstanding work of our City of Boston Veterans Affairs Department under Commissioner Santiago, who's doing an excellent job. Boston has one of the best records in the city, in the country rather, on helping our homeless veterans. And that's thanks to this body, and especially thanks to Mayor Walsh and his team, but making sure that our homeless veterans have an opportunity to have housing, have job training, and counseling. And as we know, 25 veterans a day commit suicide. And so mental health is always a top priority. We've had hearings on that over the last 2 years, myself and Councilor Edwards and the body as well. But we'll continue working on those issues and issues that impact veterans and military families over the next 2 years. So I wanted to say thank you to all of my colleagues for their great work on this important issue. Thank you, Madam President.
No, thank you, Councilor Flynn, and thank you, of course, for your service and for acknowledging the holiday and flagging it for folks who are watching. It's also my husband's birthday. He's quite special to me, so happy birthday, babe. And it's a big one for him, so it's rare I get to say that publicly, so thank you. I think that's it. Anyone else have any more announcements? No? Okay, at this time, I'd like all colleagues, staff, and guests to please rise as we adjourn today's meeting in memory of the following individuals. For Counselor Janey, Chris Shepard. For Counselor Edwards, Ciaran Dillon, John Burton. For Counselor Flaherty, Moises Vargas. For Counselor Flynn, Mary Lafferty. And for Counselor Siomo, Eddie Montez. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. The chair moves that when the council adjourns today, it does so in memory of the aforementioned individuals. We are scheduled to meet again in this chamber at Boston City Hall on the 5th floor on November 20th at 12 noon. All those in favor of adjournment say aye. Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The council is adjourned.